Warning, the following audio transmission is based on theory and is intended for entertainment purposes only. It's Doomsday and its affiliates will not be held liable for anything your dumbass does. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome everybody to It's Doomsday Podcast. Today is March 26, 2023. Time is 7:32 p.m. And joining me as always is Big Daddy Prep. What's going on, man?
Well, I'm looking for a canoe or a boat because if we get any more rain, we're going to need
Okay.
They closed roads all around there and stuff. And yeah, we're not flooded, but we got a lot of water. If you need any, let us know in Arkansas. We can spare you some.
You know, it's interesting you say that because I keep seeing like little news articles pop up here and there about flooding that's going on, and like in my area it's not a thing. So I have no idea what other people are going through currently.
It is very I don't know. It's really bad. I've never seen it like this. Usually it floods once a year in little areas around us, but it's done it several times this year. So,
Gotcha. So at some point here, we're going to have to do an episode on preparing for floods.
Yeah, we definitely do because it's a big thing. It's not just the water and could get your house. It's a lot of other things like roads and escape and, high water and how do you get out? Yeah, we need to do one on that one.
Absolutely. We definitely should. So for everybody that's out there listening, welcome to the show. Al, $2,000. Think about that number. Just let that number sink in for a minute. $2,000.
Yeah, I had to spend that this week. Yeah, I understand that. Yeah.
Okay, so
$2,000. No.
$2,000. I want everybody that's listening out there to hear me when I say $2,000 since October 2019 is what I've paid for hosting for It's Doomsday Podcast.
Whoa, dude.
Whoa, dude is right, Al, because I got to tell you what, I am so infuriated this week and so on edge and just extremely pissed off. Podbean is giving us the shaft, and it kills me because I was always the one bringing people to Podbean. I was always pushing people to come over to this platform, preaching the idea that it's uncensored, they're not shutting people down. There's the whole freedom of speech aspect with this app, and they're pushing you out there. And they're just making your life so much easier. I was actually happy to pay the monthly fees to keep the show going that are associated.
I know you're telling the truth. Because I'm here. I mean, I came into Podbean because of you. Because you recommended it. Yes, fact.
Right. So I worked my ass off for the platform to get people moved over. All right. And I want every single person out there that's listening on Podbean right now to hear what I am telling you. We are leaving Podbean soon, okay? I don't know the time, the day, the hour, but it's coming, all right? It's coming very, very soon. This could be our last episode that comes out on Podbean, but I'm not sure. But I will tell you this. If for some reason you're not seeing new episodes pop up, you need to look for us somewhere else. Potentially Spotify might be the new hub and home for It's Doomsday Podcast. Now, I want to explain, Al, how this listenership goes so everybody kind of has a general idea. Because I could sit here and say, screw Podbean all day, but until you guys really understand where our numbers are coming from, it's a bit hard for me to say that. So, Al, right now, the number one listenership for Doomsday Podcast comes specifically from Apple Podcast. Okay?
Yes, sir.
That's where it comes from. Number 2 on the list is Podbean itself. That's where our second group of listeners comes from. coming in at a whopping 19.59%, followed by iHeartRadio, then followed by Spotify, and then a few other off platforms in the mix as well. Now, I'm not going to say that we're being shadowed here on Podbean, but they definitely don't want us getting out there.
Well, if you're not going to say it, I will for you, because they are.
They absolutely are.
I'll say it. I'll be the ass here. I don't care.
So let me explain this, guys. We have never been featured in the trending page on Podbean, ever.
Never.
And I kept scratching my head thinking, what are we doing wrong to where we're not trending? Like, what's really going on here? There are so many shows in the trending page that have less than half the following that we do, less than half the downloads that we do, that are ending up in the trending page. And I said, okay, something's not right. I've been emailing Podbean back and forth for a while, okay, trying to get an answer about how the trending page works. And they kept giving me the runaround. And I'm like, okay, maybe they really don't know how it works, right? Maybe they really don't have a clue. Maybe it's an algorithm they truly don't understand. I wanted to give them the benefit of the doubt. So I went ahead and I just kept watching the trending page, watching our numbers. And then one day I saw a show populate over there on the trending page. The show has, I don't know, I want to say, Al, it's up in the neighborhood of 1,000 episodes, right? It's got a lot of episodes. On Podbean itself, it only has 9 downloads. 9 downloads with, like, I want to say maybe like 5 followers. That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
Are you looking for something kick-ass to add to your closet? Reaper has the hookup for t-shirts, hoodies, button-ups, hats, beanies, and plenty of other badass products. You can check out Reaper Apparel Company at www.reaperapparelco.com and use code DOOM10 for 10% off. Jester only stands behind brands he believes in, and Dan at Reaper Apparel has a mission, and Jester is on board. Go check out www.reaperapparelco.com today and use code DOOM10 for 10% off your entire order. Why be a sheep when you can reap? Use code DOOM10 for 10% off at www.reaperapparelco.com today.
And I took a screenshot of the show. I sent it in the Podbean. I said, okay, somebody needs to explain to me how this works now, because I'm getting 9 downloads like a second damn near. I don't understand how a show with only 9 downloads is populating over here. What is happening? So I receive the email from Podbean, and they explain to me, this time they say, it's all based off the iTunes numbers. It's based off your iTunes downloads. Now, for those of you that don't know, yeah, that's what I said. What, iTunes? Why iTunes? Anyway, so number one, iTunes isn't anybody's biggest downloader. Let me start with that, okay? For those of you that are out there listening on Apple Podcast right now, that is totally separate from iTunes downloads. They are not the same thing. And I would have never known that unless I went back into the analytics and found out that iTunes is totally separate from Apple Podcast. It is not the same thing. So I took the time over the weekend to go ahead and get our iTunes numbers up. Excuse me.
Okay.
So I get our iTunes numbers way up, all right?
Okay.
They update the trending. We're still not there. And I'm like, okay, I'm seeing shows with 9 downloads make it over here. Clearly, they only got 9 downloads on iTunes, if that's why they're here. So Let me get our iTunes at least above 9. So I got our iTunes downloads up in a decent range. And I'm like, okay, we're still not populating. We're still not here. Why is that? Right? And then, this was the kicker out. This is the thing that pisses me off. So, It's Doomsday Podcast falls under 2 categories online. Well, actually, technically there's 3. So we fall under educational categories on some servers, right?
Yep.
We're supposed to be under news and news commentary on places like Podbean, right?
Yep.
And our live shows fall under a societal category, okay?
Yep.
Do you know, I don't care what category you go under on Podbean to search for our show, we do not exist? We are not there.
Well, maybe that's the reason why.
Maybe it is.
Maybe.
So I'm telling you what, I don't know, and I hope the people at Podbean are listening right now. I really hope they are, because I'm going to tell you what, I have pushed so many people to this platform. I know I've helped them make money, okay?
Yep.
I know I've paid them a lot of money.
Yep.
And here's the $1 million question, Al. This is the $1 million question.
Okay.
If we were not being restricted by Podbean, how many followers would we have right now? How many downloads would we have right now? How big would this show potentially be if they weren't throttling us?
Right.
Now,
I agree with you.
So check this out. There's no logical answer for that question. You know, there's no way to know. There just isn't. But here's the thing. Something else I want to tell you, Al, that you didn't know. So maybe right after we got the studio in November, all right, and I was getting everything set up in here, got everything ready to launch in here, I think about December, beginning of January, somewhere around that neighborhood. I was like, you know what?
Yep.
I said, we really need to start getting listenership up to help cover the cost of the studio, you know, the rent and everything else, you know, the fee for Podbean service, everything else. Like, let's see what we can't do to really get the ball rolling here, get listenership up, and really start raking in some money from endorsements and things like that, you know, to keep the show going, to keep the studio paying for itself, etc.
Right.
So I was like, well, let me go ahead and do one of these Podbean ad campaigns, right? To where you pay so much, and how it works is they run an ad for your show out over all these different shows, okay? And in doing that, it would, you know, get you feedback and get people to come into your show and get you clicks, get you follows, get new listeners, all that stuff, right?
Yep.
Would you believe this? I can't remember the exact amount, but it was a few $100s that went out to make the service happen, right? And my wife stopped me because I was getting ready to pay for like an $800 run, right? Like I was getting ready to drop like a lot of money on this.
No.
She said, no, Jester, don't do that. She said, do something small first and see how it goes. Thank God she was the voice of reason. Right. Let me tell you what they did when we put this ad out, Al. They ran this ad all over top of one specific show that has no relevance to It's Doomsday Podcast, so we acquired 0 new followers, 0 new listeners, 0 clicks.
Do you have enough food in your pantry for when disaster strikes? Go to www.readywise.com and utilize code DOOM10 for 10% off your entire food order. ReadyWise offers long-term food storage items such as chicken and beef that last up to 15 years. But that's not all. Go to www.readywise.com and use our code DOOM10 for 10% off of organic food as well. Offering chili, pasta, and soups, they have you covered. Did we mention they have fruits? Bananas, blueberries, strawberries, and apples, just to name a few. With many more food options for your home, car, or bug-out bag, ReadyWise has your 6. Go to www.readywise.com now and utilize code DOOM10 for 10% off.
Right.
And I emailed them in, and I emailed them, and I was like, you know, this is some shit. I'm going back and looking at the analytics of this. You guys only put us over top of one show that is not relevant to us at all. This is bullshit. Right. Like, you need to put us over another news commentary show or, you know, something relevant to the things we talk about. And they didn't. Okay?
I agree totally.
Do you know what they told me, Al?
What?
They said, well, we'll tell you what we'll do for you. We'll go ahead and we'll give you $100 credit for your next ad campaign.
Well, it wasn't that nice, though. That was sweet of them. See, I'm listening. I'm taking it all in now because I'll have my smart ass comments in a minute. But I got to build my case first. So
Okay.
yeah, I'm building. Keep give me the evidence, Jeff.
So,
Bring me the evidence.
so after that, I was like, no, we're not going to run an ad campaign with you again and pay you guys more money and utilize this $100 credit because it costs Podbean what, maybe $15 for the guy they're paying hourly to go click on things and put you in a spot, right?
Right.
They're making an exuberant amount of money, okay? Now, the thing that kills me and the thing that's pissing me off about this is, A, I can't get anybody on the phone to talk about any of this. B, there's been over about $2,000, like I said, that went out to pay for hosting and everything since 2019, okay? Don't get me started on the billing issue. Remember, Al, when you first came on with me and I was like, hey, I'm going to upgrade our service?
Yes.
Okay,
yes,
so
you were having terrible trouble getting a hold of anybody, breathing human being.
Right, that was about a year ago, guys. More than that now, actually. That was, yeah. So if you guys look on places like CastBox or different areas you find the show, you'll see that It's Doomsday Podcast has put out over 200 episodes, but only about 110 of those episodes are available. That's because of Podbean's bullshit. So in order for me, I signed up for this like mega service that allowed all this different hosting and things to go on. And here's the problem. When you get locked into a higher service on Podbean, you can't go backwards. You can't go down. So the only thing you can do to get out of it is allow your payment to fully expire and drop all your episodes down to zero. Basically, delete everything out of the database and allow your account to get canceled back to a free monthly account before you can re-upgrade to get your hosting back, right?
Right.
So for those of you guys that are out there that are like, man, it says there's 200 episodes here and I can only find about 100. Thank Podbean for that. Because they would not give me the option to go backwards. And the only way I was able to do that is I talked to a few other people on Podbean, and I got with one guy, and I don't want to say his name because I think he's in good with Podbean, and I don't want to blow his cover. But he was the one that told me, he's like, Jester, you got to go back, you got to delete every episode, cancel that card, and then it'll revert back to a zero account. Once it automatically reverts back to a free account, then you could re-upgrade again. And that's what we had to do. Now,
I remember you doing that. We lost a lot of old episodes, and it wasn't episodes I was on, but it was episodes that really were educational for the listeners.
Right. So now I'm not going to sit here and say that that's 100% Podbean's fault. I mean, it is, but it isn't. It's potentially my fault because I got the bright idea to go ahead and upgrade thinking that this would be better. But when you're with a server for so long, you would think that they would be working with you like, hey, man, sorry, the upgraded feature's not working out. Let us downgrade you again, blah, blah, blah. Or, hey, you have to zero out your account. Let us show you how to put these episodes in this kind of a folder so they could all be re-uploaded again. You know, something. But no, that wasn't the case. It was like, we're not responding to you. We're not getting back to you. There's no 1-800 number to call. We're done. Right?
Yep.
Now, Al, let's tear into these lives. I need a drink of water. I'm getting a bit parched.
Well,
what are your thoughts so far, Al?
I'm going to be honest with you, Jester. This is very much part of today's society where we take your money, we give you nothing for it, but we tell you how good a job you did. You pay for ad campaign, and they basically shuffled you to the side because you're not a quote-unquote large content creator, which you would be if they'd allow you to be, but they push you to the side. Then whenever you get mad about it because you basically got screwed out of your money, what do they do then? Well, they say, we'll give you $100 towards your next campaign. That's like saying, I got a bad steak and I got salmonella from it and I like to die, but we're going to give you another steak. You think I'm going to trust you again? No. I mean, come on, seriously. And then on top of it, so I'll be able to get a hold of a living, breathing human being when you're taking my money every month, even whether you wanted to downgrade or not, doesn't make any difference. You brought other people into the fold that helped them make money, like me and other people. And I was way ahead of you on this, Jester, because I've been really getting tired of Podbean's crap for a long time myself, too. But now we're kind of, I didn't say a whole lot about it, but I've looked at other platforms that I've been shopping around, too. That's the honest to God's truth, and no BS in there.
All right, so let's talk about the live shows because Al, you do 2 live shows a week.
Yep, 2 a week, every week.
Okay.
Try to.
Alan, I go back to your profile and I check your downloads and see how you're doing. I go in, I try to be there for most of your lives and, go in. I'm not good for information, but I'll talk shit in the chat.
Right. But that's, it's a listener. It's a friend. That's what it's about.
Right. So I got to tell you guys something. Now, I know how Podbean could fix this problem, but this golden goose is done laying eggs for them, right? I'm done.
Yep.
I know how they could fix this issue. However, this is the big thing. I've noticed people on Podbean, okay, if they're doing a lot of live shows, they're not growing in downloads. And if they're doing a lot of good downloaded episodes, they're not growing in live shows. And I know what the problem is. I know where the fall off is. I know how Podbean's fucking up. But that's on them to find out. I'm done. Right? I am just totally done because I know how they could be growing that app or growing listenership for the live shows. But they, it's on them. So I'll tell you this. We've been doing lives over there since 2020. All right. So, and I want to say, and I'm probably wrong here.
Fire is one of the most basic essentials for survival. Whether you're camping, hiking, or preparing for disaster, Blackbeard has your six. Go to www.blackbeardfire.com and utilize code DOOMSDAY for 10% off your entire purchase. Blackbeard offers stormproof matches, plasma arc lighters, fire starters, and ferro rods, all of which are great for your bug out bag. Once again, go to www.blackbeardfire.com and utilize code DOOMSDAY for 10% off your entire purchase.
I want to say it was New Year's of 2021 we started doing our first lives there. I think, like, end of 2020, beginning of 2021. I can't remember exactly. It was on New Year's. Grizz and I decided to do our first live over there. And I enjoyed it. We got consistent. We only had like 1 or 2 listeners in there when we first started. And then it grew, and it grew, and it grew, and it grew. But you know what the problem is, Al? And I know you've noticed this. There's not steady increased growth at all.
Nope.
There's not. Okay?
0.
Now, we all know the bullshit that happened about a year ago where someone came in to our group, our circle thing, and created a bunch of problems. And Al and I's listenership both got cut in half about 50%. Okay?
Yep.
It wasn't uncommon for me to average 50, 60 people every live for the live show over on Podbean. And it wasn't uncommon for Al to average what would you say, 25 to 35?
25 to 30, and I was very happy with that. I mean, they were good listeners. Then all of a sudden, just bingo.
Right. So me now, I'm lucky to get 20 people in there. I'm lucky to hit 30 people. For as long as we've been live there, for always being on the live schedule, we should automatically be getting 50 people per live. Like,
I would think more like 100, Jester. As many people as you've had in the past that listen to you, I would say 100. Seriously.
Maybe. I don't really know, Al. You're probably right, but I mean, I'm trying to not be too overzealous, But anyway, but the fact of the matter remains, what the point I'm making is there's all this money that's going out to Podbean, and there's no growth.
Yep.
There's no growth.
Very little.
And what really kills me is I could average 50 people in a TikTok live, 50 people on a Clapper live. Al, I was in Clapper the other night. I was averaging about 130 people in a live.
That's great. That's great.
And I mean, so this, like, for me, it's like I watch numbers explode quicker through social media than they're doing with this show. Now, the point of the show is not about numbers. It's not about money. It's not about endorsement deals. It's not about that. It is solely about spreading this message, getting people prepared, and getting people across the finish line, right?
Right.
Now, I will say this. It takes time. It takes effort. Al and I research these topics. Jake and I research these topics. Time goes into editing, recording. We take time out of our day to sit down in front of a microphone, get this recorded, and get it out on the internet for everybody to listen to. It's not that easy of a process. Okay?
No, it isn't.
So,
believe me.
And Al knows, because Al, you're sitting down for about an hour a week with me, and then you're sitting down for about 4 hours a week doing your lives.
Right. And I love it. I enjoy the hell out of it, or I wouldn't do it.
Okay, now
It's work.
It is. It does come down to where it is work. Now, the thing that is frustrating for me, and this is like the big frustrating factor here, is to not see that growth.
Yep.
We are reaching, our downloaded audience through Apple and Spotify and these other platforms is not horrible, right? It's not. But Podbean is clearly hindering growth. Okay? I know that they are, and I don't know why. I don't know who we pissed off. I don't know who at corporate said, we don't like the message these guys are sending. Don't let them get that message out. I don't know what we did. I don't know what nerve we struck. But clearly someone there said, we can't let these guys get big. There's no way. And I'm not saying for a second that we are the greatest podcast in the world. We are absolutely not.
Want to be a guest on the show? Email itsdoomsdaypodcast@gmail.com. That's itsdoomsdaypodcast@gmail.com.
But on the other hand, I've listened to a lot of podcasts. Listening to podcasting is what got me into podcasting, right?
Yep, me too. Me too.
Right. So I can tell you this. For some of the shows out there that I see are really popular, I don't understand why they're popular. I don't understand how they're getting millions of downloads. I don't understand how they're having hundreds and thousands and millions of followers. I don't get it, because their content, frankly, sucks. It's not good. And then I look at...
There's a lot of bots out there. There's a lot of bots.
Okay, that's a good point. There are bots. However, I'm looking at it like this. The only reason we haven't shot to the moon yet is because we're being throttled. And what's crazy is I will meet people and I'll run into people, or I'll call into a business and I'll be asking about stuff for the podcast. And they're like, oh, I listened to the show. How's Al? Blah, blah, blah. Like, people have recognized me before from its Doomsday podcast.
Yep.
So you're not going to tell me for a second that people don't give a shit about the show and people aren't listening and we're not getting out there. Not to mention, if you look at our reviews, they're all pretty good.
Yep.
If you look at our, I mean, it's so mind-blowing to me that we're being shadowed. Right?
I think it's the message in some ways, because let's face facts. A lot of left-leaning people don't like the prepping message. First of all, we are proud of the First Amendment and the Second Amendment on here, and we basically say you need to prepare, be ready. You need to. We preach that message. Of course, you and Jake talk about the news and a lot of people don't like that, and a lot of people on the left have been in control of things over the last couple of years. So that does explain some of why we're being throttled back, I think, but not all.
Now, I got a message for anybody out there that is on the left-leaning spectrum, all right, and is thinking, yeah, these guys need to be throttled because of their message. Let me explain something to you guys, all right, to everybody that's out there. I don't get like heavy into politics here. It's not a thing I enjoy doing. Al and I will, if it's a duck, we'll call it a duck. If it's walking funny, we're going to say, hey, that's walking funny. Yep. We're not gonna shadow anything. We are not gonna bury something down inside if we feel a certain type of way. Okay, we're not gonna do it. I mean, for all you guys that love Trump, I could tell you what, I think he was a plant. I think he was put in there to make the blue-collar working man think that we got to win, right? Okay. That's what I think he was there for. I think they put Biden in there just to fuck with us, right? I mean, I personally don't care for either one of them. I don't care for this red or blue bullshit, but I do care about the First Amendment, the Second Amendment, and ensuring American rights.
Right.
You know?
Absolutely.
And if that pisses you off if you're on the left, fine. If it pisses you off if you're on the right, fine. I frankly don't care.
Right. Me either.
It doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, our message is getting people prepared. We just saw over 24 people lose their lives in Mississippi due to tornadoes because they were probably ill-prepared, right?
Yep, you're right.
Now, and we see this kind of thing all the time where we're preaching this message of preparedness for disasters and come whatever may, as we're watching our citizens of our country and people around the world getting killed or getting injured or getting illy affected by these disasters. Now, why the fuck would you want to silence us?
Right.
We're between me and Al and Jake, we are out here just trying to wake people up, help people out, and we're going to be the ones that are going to be shadowed and shut down.
This is an emergency action message. At approximately 1 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, NORAD is tracking 15 ICBM nuclear missiles inbound to the following cities: Orlando, Miami, Pittsburgh, Dover, Newark, Richland, Philadelphia, New York City, Baltimore, Los Angeles, Las Vegas, Boston, Seattle, Detroit. This is an extremely deadly situation. Stay tuned. The next emergency message will be a presidential address.